Good afternoon. I am John Mark V.E. Aguiman, a graduate of Master in Public Administration at Kinamigin Polytechnic State College. I am currently working as an executive assistant of the Municipal Mayor of Mambaao, Kamigin, and I am an advocate in the preservation and promotion of the Kinamigin history, culture, and the arts. Becoming more globalized with the influence and advancement of education and modernity, the local culture and tradition, including the Kinamigin dialect, had been further pushed into the margins of total culture loss. Hence, Kinamigin dialect was categorized as threatened and slowly dying due to the demise of its speakers, with only 11,000 native speakers left. With a feeling of inferiority of not speaking the tongue of the population, parents started to discourage and even forbid their children to speak Kinamigin, afraid to be labeled as bakulos, ignorant, or Tigiraza or Tagabukid from the hinterlands. I personally have heard this coming from the mouth of the speakers. As a Kamigingnan and a cultural advocate, I have found myself having this mission to seek for actions needed to enhance the policies on the preservation of our dialect. Hence, this study was conducted. Knowledge, attitude, and practices on the preservation of the Kinamigin dialect basis for policy formulation. In this study, quantitative approach using researcher-made questionnaire was applied, supplemented with the results of the focus group discussion, key informal interview, and participant observation. This was conducted in the municipality of Sagay, Kamigin. The local government unit participants were the elected officials of the municipality. Selected school heads and IPN teachers of Sagay district became the participants for the DepEd, and grade 10 to 12 students represented the youth sector. For both LGU and DepEd, proposing sampling and its novel technique for the KII were applied. Using the Rostov's calculator, a total of 243 sample size was identified for the youth sector. Stratified random sampling and simple random sampling in a form of fishbowl lottery method with the replacement were used. The questionnaire was validated by 5 experts and went through pilot testing for its reliability. With the use of Cronbach's alpha computation, a 0.722 result was reflected, signifying a high correlation. Frequency, percentage count, average weighted mean, standard deviation, and NOVA statistical treatments were also applied. The study revealed that there were more male participants, 53.1% compared to females, 46.9%, where most of them were from the youth sector residing in Barangay Poblacion. For knowledge, DepEd was very much knowledgeable, while LGU and youth sector were much knowledgeable. For the overall total, it came out that in the level of knowledge, means of preservation ranked first with 3.22 much knowledgeable, followed by background with 3.19 much knowledgeable, uniqueness with 3.17 much knowledgeable, role in the preservation in the 4th rank with 3.16 much knowledgeable, and 5th, problems with 2.93 much knowledgeable. To compare across sectors, the youth had at least AWM in all categories, hence the need to conduct symposia, community discussions, orientations, and other related programs to orient and educate the youth of their significant roles in the preservation of the Kinamigin dialect had been revealed. For attitude, all sectors were under very much agreed. As observed under DepEd and LGU, all 3 categories, prestige, usefulness, and value, were under very much agreed level. This implied that they had high positive attitude towards the preservation of the dialect. Focusing on the total AWM, value ranked first with 3.59, very much agreed, while prestige and usefulness ranked second and third with 3.58 VMA and 3.41 VMA respectively. Also, it can be clearly grasped that the 3 sectors with high accuracy and thoroughness clearly agreed in all the information about prestige, meaning they were proud of it and they appreciate its usefulness as integrated in their daily conversations, and they value the dialect as part of their identity. For practices, most categories were under match practice in all sectors. On the comparative level of practices by category, the Kinamigin dialect is being practiced at home consistently in rank 1 in all sectors with an average with a mean of 3.25 very much practiced. This clearly implied that the dialect had been functional in the basic unit of the society. Community category had been consistent in rank 2 with a total AWM of 2.81 match practice. Social media ranked 3rd with 2.53 match practice, since English and other major languages and dialects were more advantageous in their posts. School or work only ranked 4th with 2.41 match practice. The results clearly suggested that though they have been using Kinamigin as part of their common and daily conversations beyond the parameters of their respective homes, especially in school and work-related environments, Kinamigin was rarely practiced. The result further revealed that Kinamigin was less used in social media posts and advocacies, the trend of the generation. Added to this, the wide influence of other dialects and the formal languages taught in the academies continue to threaten Kinamigin as it dominates the social facets, leaving only little space for Kinamigin to be practiced and developed both academically and professionally. Found as a major challenge, this needs to be addressed, knowing the demise of its native speakers and the functionality of the dialect had already been limited to the specific niches of society. As a major task, this demands urgency because of the slowly dying fluent speakers. The level of knowledge yielded an X value of 20.2 at 0.05 level of significance, with DepEd as a significant difference lie. On the extent of attitude, it yielded an X value of 42 at 0.05 level of significance, with the DepEd as a significant difference lie. On the side of practices, it yielded 5.58 at 0.05 level of significance. There was significant difference in the level of knowledge and extent of attitude, hence the null hypothesis was rejected, while there was no significant difference to the extent of practices, hence the null hypothesis was accepted. Furthermore, it was revealed that there were various problems encountered occasionally in their personal, community, school or work level. The FGD and AII enriched discussion and revealed that Kinamigin dialect in those days was not only concentrated in the municipalities of Sagay and Kinsiliban as emphasized in the previous studies. Also believed they were deeply linked and rooted to the Lumans, first people of Kamigin, and they considered Kinamigin an intangible knowledge passed down to them from their ancestors. Age and knowledge about the dialect revealed to be interconnected. The elderly people, 56 and up, were very much knowledgeable as directly observed in their natural fluency. Ages 41 to 55 years old in the community were much knowledgeable. However, speakers under this age bracket naturally mix their dialects. While 30 to 40 years old, the educated generation were considered as knowledgeable. However, they were more likely to use the Binisaya. For the less knowledgeable generations, it came out that they used Binisaya because it is the dialect of the Sagajan or the lowland, one used in the schools, and because either their mother or their father does not know or use the Kinamigin dialect at home. These culture loss had been the result of various personal experiences of discrimination, especially of the people coming from the Poblacion, the negative attitude of other people towards the Kinamigin speakers, and the belief that Kinamigin is an inferior dialect. Today, there are already 5 categories of speakers. Category A, the fluent speakers; B, the bilingual fluent speakers; C, the occasional speakers; D, the millennial mix and match speakers; and E, the silent speakers. As concluded, the speakers believe that there is future for Kinamigin, and it will not die as others have predicted it. However, changes will occur in time in its structure and in the use of other terms. It will no longer be like how it is used by the speakers of this generation, as it will develop just like any other living dialect or language, though some, out of practical use, will be retained. Hence, there is a need to fully implement and institutionalize the indigenous people's education, IPN, to reintroduce the local culture and to strengthen the integrity of the dialect. On the other hand, the local government unit, in collaboration with the Department of Education, must allocate funds for the various programs and activities and spearhead all the preservation endeavors. This study serves as an eye-opener to all the Kamigingnuns and to the National Commission for Indigenous Peoples, the Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, the Province of Camiguin, and the Provincial Tourism Office through its Council for Culture and the Arts, that our dialect is currently at the brink of extinction. Hence, there is a need to immediately address this concern by reassessing its status and identifying major solutions to revitalize and save the dialect. I cannot stand to see that 20 years from now, this dialect would naturally die. Yes, it is important to preserve this in printed and electronic materials, but it is more important to preserve it by using it as medium of communication and safeguarding it in its natural oikos or home. I am neither a Cebuano who speaks Sinulpoanon, nor Boholano who speaks Binulanon. I am a Kamigingnan by birth and by heart. Kamigin is my home, and Kinamigin is my dialect, our dialect.